So in college, I was a government major, which means I had to write a lot of papers. And now when a normal student writes a paper, then I spread my work like little like this. So you get started maybe a little slowly, but you get enough done in the first week that with some heavier days later on, everything gets done, things stay civil. And I would do want to do that like that. That would be the plan. I would have it all ready to go, but then actually the paper would come along. Then I would kind of do this. And that would happen every single paper. But then came my 90-page senior thesis. A paper you're supposed to spend a year on. And I knew for a paper like that, my normal workflow was not an option. It's way too big a project. So I planned things out and I decided it kind of had to go something like this. This is how the year will go. So I start off light and I bump it up in the middle months. And then at the end, I would kick it up in the high gears, just a little staircase. How hard could it be to walk up the stairs? No big deal, right? But then the funniest thing happened. This first few months, they came and went, and I couldn't quite do stuff. So we have some revised plans. But then those middle months actually went by, and I didn't really write words, and so we were here. And then 2 months turned into 1 month. It turned into weeks, and one day I woke up with 3 days until the deadline. Still not having written a word, and so I did the only thing I could. I wrote 90 pages over 72 hours, pulling not one but 2 all-nighters. Humans are not supposed to pull 2 all-nighters. Sprinted across campus, dove in slow motion, and got it in just at the deadline. I thought that was the end of everything, but a week later I get a call, and it's the school. And they say, "Is this Team Urban?" And I say, "Yeah." And they would say, "We need to talk about your thesis." And I say, "Okay." And they say, "It's the best one we ever seen." That did not happen. It's a very, very bad thesis. I just wanted to enjoy that one moment when all of you thought this guy is amazing. No, it was very, very bad. Anyway, today I'm a writer blogger guy. I write the blog Wait But Why. And a couple of years ago I decided to write about procrastination. And behavior how always perplexed the non-procrastinators around me, and I wanted to explain the non-procrastinators of the world. What goes on in the heads of procrastinators and why we are the way we are. And I had a hypothesis in that the brains of procrastinators are actually different than the brains of other people. And to test this, I found an MRI lab that actually let me scan both my brain and the brain of a proven non-procrastinator. And I could compare them. And I actually brought them here to show you today, and I want to take a look carefully to see if you notice the difference. I know that you're a trained brain expert. It's not that obvious, but to take a look, okay? So here's the brain of a non-procrastinator. Now, here's my brain. There is a difference. Both brains have a rational decision maker in them, but the procrastinator's brain also has an instant gratification monkey. Now, what does this mean for the procrastinators? Well, it means everything's fine until this happens. So the rational decision maker will make the rational decision to do something productive, but the monkey doesn't like that plan. So here's actually takes the wheel, and he says, "Actually, let's read the entire Wikipedia page of the Nancy Kerrigan Tanya Harding scandal because I just remembered that happened." Then we're going to go over the fridge and we're going to see this if there's anything new if there's 10 minutes ago. And after that, we're going to go YouTube spiral that starts with a video of Richard Feynman talking about magnets and S much later with us watching interviews of Justin Bieber's mom. All of that's going to take a while, so we're not going to readily have room for the schedule for anything work. Sorry. Now, what is going on here? The instant gratification monkey does not seem like a guy you want to behind the wheel. He lives entirely in the present moment. He has no memory from the past, no knowledge of the future. He only cares about two things: easy and fun. Now, in the animal world, that works fine. If you're a dog and you spend your whole life doing nothing other than easy and fun things, you're a huge success. And to the monkey, humans are just another animal species you have to just keep well slept, well fed, and propagating to the next generation. Which means travel times might have worked okay, but if you have noticed, now we're not in tribal times, we're in an advanced civilization, and the monkey does not know what that is. Which is just why we have another guy nearby, the rational decision maker, who gives us the ability to do things no other animal can do. We can visualize the future, we can see pictures, we can make long-term plans, and he wants to take all of that into account, and he wants to just have us do whatever makes sense to do right now. Now, sometimes it makes sense to be doing things that are easy and fun, like when you're having dinner, or going to bed, or enjoying well-earned leisure time. That's why there's an overlap. Sometimes they agree. But other times, it makes much more sense to be doing things that are harder and less pleasant for the sake of the big picture, and that's when we have a conflict. And for the procrastinator, the conflict tends to end a certain way every time, leaving him spending a lot of time in this orange zone. An easy and fun place that's entirely out of the make sense circle. I call it the dark playground. Now, the dark playground is a place that all of you procrastinators out there know very well. It's where leisure activities happen at times when leisure activities are not supposed to be happening. The fun you have in the dark playground isn't actually fun because it's completely unearned, and the area is filled with guilt, dread, exact self-hatred, all those good procrastinator qualities. The question is, in this situation, with a monkey behind the wheel, how does procrastinator ever get himself over here the blue zone? A less pleasant place, but where really important things happen. Well, turns out, the procrastinator has a guardian angel, someone who's always looking down on him and watching over him in the darkest moments, someone called the panic monster. Now, the panic monster is dormant most of the time, but it suddenly wakes up anytime a deadline gets too close, or there's danger of public embarrassment or career disaster or other consequences. And importantly, he's the only thing the monkey is terrified of. Now, he became very relevant in my life pretty recently, because the people of TED reached out to me about 6 months ago and invited me to do a TED Talk. Now, of course, I said yes. It's always been a dream of mine to have done a TED Talk in the past. But in the middle of all this excitement, the rational decision maker seemed to have something else in mind. He was saying, "Are we clear on what we just accepted? Do you get what's going to be now happening one day in the future? We need to sit down and work on this right now." And the monkey said, "Totally agree, but also let's go open Google Earth and zoom into the bottom of the India, like 200 feet above the ground, and scroll for 2.5 hours till we get on the problem together, so we get a feel for India." So that's what we did that day. As 6 months turned into 4, and then 2, and then 1, the people of TED decided to release the speakers, and I opened up the website, and there was my face staring right back at me, and guess who woke up? So the panic monster starts losing his mind, and a few seconds later, the whole system is mayhem. And the monkey, remember, he's terrified of the panic monster, and boom, he's up the tree. And finally, the rational decision maker can take the wheel, and I can start working on the talk. Now, the panic monster explains all kinds of pretty insane procrastinated behaviors, like how someone like me could spend 2 weeks unable to start the opening sentence of a paper, and then miraculously find the unbelievable work ethic to stay up all night and write 8 pages. And this entire situation with 3 characters, This is the procrastinator system. It's not pretty, but in the end, it works. And this is what I decided to write about on the blog a couple of years ago. And when I did, I was amazed by the response. Little thousands of emails came in from all different kinds of people from all over the world to all different kinds of things. These are people who are nurses, bankers, painters, and engineers, and lots of PhD students. And they're all writing saying the same thing. I have this problem too. But what struck me was the contrast between the light tones of post and the heaviness of these emails. These people were writing with intense frustration about what procrastination have done to their lives, about what this monkey had done to them. And I thought about this and said, well, if procrastination system works, then what's going on? Why are all these people in such a dark place? Well, turns out there's two kinds of procrastination. Everything I've talked about today, the examples I've given, they all have deadlines. When there's deadlines, the effect of the procrastination are contained to the short term because the panic monster get involved. But there's second kind of procrastination that happens in situations where there is no deadlines. So if you want to have a career where you self-starter, something is art, something entrepreneurial, there's no deadlines of those things at first because nothing's happening for not until you've gone out and done the hard work to get momentum, get things going. There are also kinds of important things outside of a career that don't involve any deadlines, like seeing your family or exercising and take care of the health, working on your relationship, or getting out of a relationship that isn't working. Now, if procrastinator's only mechanism of doing these hard things is the panic monster, that's a problem. Because all these non-deadline situations, the panic monster doesn't show up. He's nothing to wake up for. So the effects of the procrastination are they're not contained. They just extend outward forever. And this long-term kind of procrastination that's much less visible and much less talked about than the funnier short-term deadline-based kind. It's usually suffered quietly, privately, and it can be source of a huge amount of long-term unhappiness and regrets. And I thought that's why these people are emailing, and that's why they're in such bad place. Not that they're cramming for some project, it's that long-term procrastination had made them feel like a spectator at times in their own lives. The frustration is not that if they couldn't achieve their dreams, they were able to start chasing them. So I read these emails and I had a little bit of epiphany that I don't think non-procrastinators exist. That's right, I think all of you are procrastinators. Now you might not be a mess, like some of us. And some of you have made healthy relationship with deadlines. But remember, the monkey's sneakiest trick is when the deadlines aren't there. Now I'm going to show one last thing. I call this a life calendar. That's $1 for every week of a 90-year life. That's not that many boxes, especially since we've already used a bunch of those. So I think we need to all take a long, hard look at that calendar. We need to think about what we're really procrastinating on, because everyone is procrastinating on something in life. We need to stay aware of the instant gratification monkey. That's the job for all of us. And because there's not better boxes in there, it's a job that you probably start today. Well, maybe not today, but sometime soon. Thank you.